OCO. My name is Pam Bakke. I am the Cultural Outreach Officer for Cherokee Nation's Community and Cultural Outreach Department. I'm here today to help you with how to make a Cornhusk doll. You should each have a Cornhusk doll kit, and you want to take all of your corn husk and put them in a pan or a bowl of warm water. The warmer the water, the faster they soften up and the better they soften up. But you use the water, make sure they're all submerged down in there. They'll need to soak for just about 3 to 5 minutes. So while mine are soaking, I'm going to tell you the story of why the Cornhusk doll has no face. Cornhusk doll, the old people told us that years ago, the first woman's name was Selu. And Selu taught the Cherokee people a lot of things, and she loved the Cherokee people. Her job was to serve the Cherokee people. And at that time, when all the other Cherokees were living on the earth, she got to watching them and she tried to help them, and she realized they needed more help. So she went to the Creator and she asked the Creator if she could make some dolls, some little people, to help the Cherokee people with their chores and to keep the children happy and to make the people happy and make companions for them. And the Creator told her yes, he would grant her that permission. So she made Cornhusk dolls. She made beautiful Cornhusk dolls. And these Cornhusk dolls came to life, and they walked with the people, talked with the people, were companions to the people, helped them with little things, helped the children remember to do their chores, gave the children something to do. But there was one of these little Cornhusk dolls they were all beautiful, but this one saw her reflection in the water one day when she was going with a little girl to the creek. And when she saw her reflection in the water, she realized that she was very beautiful. And she became mesmerized with her own beauty. And she got to where she didn't want to help people and she didn't want to be companions more. All she wanted to do was sit at the creek and look at herself. This made Selu very unhappy because she saw this. And she reminded the young lady that she was supposed to be helping the people, but the young lady didn't care. She just stayed there watching herself in the creek. So Selu went to the Creator and told the Creator that she's not doing her job anymore. She is too beautiful. And said all she wants to do is look at herself. And said, so she's not doing her job, and it's making me unhappy, and it's making the people unhappy. So the Creator, to teach this doll not to be vain and not to spend all of her time on herself to serve others, took away her face so that she could not see herself and she would not know how beautiful she was. And then the young lady she took away all the Cornhusk dolls' face, so none of them would be tempted to do the same thing either. And then all the Cornhusk dolls went back to serving the little girls, keeping them busy, giving them companionship, and helping the Cherokee people. So today, that is why we don't put a face on our Cornhusk dolls, to remind us not to be vain, to remind us that we're supposed to be humble and we're supposed to help each other. Okay, now, my Cornhusk dolls should have soaked plenty of time. They feel pretty soft to me. So I'm going to switch the camera down to where it'll be on my hands, to where I'll still talk you through it, but they'll be on my hands to where you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to turn the light on, so see if it'll help see things better. If I can get my light on. There we go. It's too bright to put on my face, but maybe we can dim it just a little bit to more natural light. Okay, so I'm going to switch it down to my hands now, and then I will show you. We have all the things that you need in your kit to make a Cornhusk doll. Just trying to make sure I have my paper, my surface that I'm going to work on right over here underneath the camera, so that we can make sure we get a good shot of everything that we're doing. And please bear with me. This is the first time I've used a camera like this to record anything. And so the first thing you're going to do is put them in here, leave them for a few minutes, and then you're going to take 3 of these corn husk, and 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I've got my little strings, and what we're going to do with the little strings, we want a little string to start with. We'll put the big longer strings over to the side and not use them yet. So we're going to take the first corn husk, and you're going to pleat it in your fingers, kind of gather it up in between your thumb and your finger, one end with the other hand. When you finish the first one, then you're going to go on and do the second one. Then you'll do the third one. And you want to get down here below the mist color if you can. Hold them all together with your fingers. take the small string, wrap it around it a couple of times. I lay them down. I tie a knot. And when my knots, I go around the thread the first time twice. This is supposed to make a weaver's knot. It's supposed to keep it from slipping as bad. And I'll do that, and then I'll tie another knot on top of it. And then I will even sometimes take and flip it over if I want to make sure it's good and tight. And I'll tie a double knot on the other side also, because sometimes I can tie it just a little bit tighter that second time. All right, now you've got your knots tied, which you will find knot tying is most of what you're going to do when you make Cornhusk doll. I'm going to trim these off not too short, but a little bit short. Then I'm going to take my styrofoam ball, and I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to move these over so I don't get styrofoam on them. And I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to kind of like drill a little hole in the middle, and I'm going to go up, not all the way to the other side where it sticks out, but almost. Because what I'm going to do is, not everyone does this step, because a lot of people just put it on there and leave it. It makes a little bump. I just don't like how the little ends here make a little bump. So take your little ends and put them inside that hole. Push it all the way up to the string. Now you're going to take this and you're going to separate these out and kind of unpleat them a little bit. Make sure they overlap just a little bit the last one you did when you do the next one. Unfold one, unfold two, and then unfold the third one. Because what you're trying to do is you're not wanting to make it super smooth, but you don't want to leave it real bumpy. But you do want to cover all of the styrofoam ball at this time. Make sure there's no styrofoam showing through. And then you're going to take another one of these short strings, and you're going to tie it around the neck. Once again, I go around the thread twice, and then I tie another time. And this is going to be your doll's neck. I'll tie it as good as I can, and then I go ahead and trim these off pretty short. Lay the ends aside. Now we're going to lay your Cornhusk doll aside, and I'm going to take my paper towel and dump the styrofoam pieces off of it into the trash can so they don't get on the rest of my doll. Now we're going to make, that's your doll's head. You're going to set it over to the side, and now we're going to work on the arms of your Cornhusk doll. So you need to take one piece of Cornhusk, and we're going to set it over here, unroll it, and we're going to measure. If you want to use the pipe cleaner to make your arms to where they're posable, I take one end and cut it off straight. And then I take my pipe cleaner and I kind of measure. I leave it a little bit longer than the pipe cleaner, and I trim it off so that it looks more like this. And I'm going to trim that just a tiny bit more because I made a little V out of it instead of cutting it straight. Then I'm going to take this. I'm going to put this pipe cleaner in here kind of centered, fold it over, and now right there where that pipe cleaner is, I'm going to start rolling it. And I'm just going to roll it up into a little roll with the pipe cleaner in the middle. And then we get it all rolled. Well, my pipe cleaner came out one end, so I'm just going to use my little scissors and push it back in there a little bit because I don't want the end to stick out. And then I am going to trim this other end off a little bit so it's more even. Take another little piece, wrap it around about a half to 3/4, about a ½ inch from the end of your arms. Tie it in a double knot. So it doesn't come undone. And then we're going to tie another little string around the other end. Once again, about a ½ inch from the end. Tie it around there as tight as you can. One hand's gonna be a little bigger than the other. That's because the Cornhusk doll is not perfectly, Cornhusk is not perfectly straight, it's kind of tapered. So one end's a little bigger than the other. And you can cut it off square if you want to, but I usually just go ahead and leave mine. And then once we get a double knot tied on this end, we'll trim the strings off of it too. Now these are our arms. You're gonna take your doll with the head, and you're gonna take this corn husk and kind of divide them in half. And if you have to, we'll split it to where they're in half. Then you're gonna take your arms and put them in there. Center them the best you can. Take another short string and see if I can hold this on here. Wrap it around there twice again, if you can. If you can only wrap it once, that's fine. And then, because this is not going to show here in a little bit, we're going to cover it up. But you tie it around here as tightly as you can. That's going to be your Cornhusk doll's waist. Okay. Trim the strings off of it a little bit. Center your arms up a little bit. Now you'll want to look at it and decide which one you want to be the front and the back. I think I'll let this be the front. Just going by the head. Okay, now I'm going to set this to the side for just a moment. And now this is where I'm going to use I'm going to throw away all my stuff I've trimmed off. And this is where you're going to use one of your long strings. I always lay it like kind of in the middle of my paper towels. I put paper towels down, or an old bathroom towel, something to keep the table so it doesn't get real wet and run off on me. I still end up wet, but after you've done that, now we're going to start working on her skirt. So what we're going to pick out for her skirt is we're going to take a corn husk and lay one place. We're going to lay a corn husk out, and we're going to put it just maybe an inch, inch and a half. We're going to take a second corn husk, and we're going to lay it where it matches. See, this one has a hole in it, so I'm going to go, as long as my bottom matches is the most important thing. And I'm going to lay it where it overlaps just a tiny bit. Then I'm going to take a third one, and I want it to look really nice. So I'm going to lay it right here in the middle of these two, all right? We're going to lay this in the middle of these two. We've got 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to take the doll body that we made, and we're going to put her upside down with her waist matching the waist string there. Now we're going to do this backwards and put one corn husk in the middle and put 2 more corn husks on where they overlap over that one. And once again, I've got some that have a hole in it, so I'm going to make sure the hole is up above the waist, this string. Now, I've got those overlapped. I'm going to try to take my fingers and pull them to the middle like this. And I'm going to pull this string up where her waist was, or farther to her hands one. And I'm going to pull it as tight as I can. And I'm going to tie a knot. And I'm going to tie a second knot. Well, actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip mine over first. Flip it over where we're working from the other side and pull the string around to this side. And this time I'm going to go around the string twice. And I'm going to tie it again. See, this is where sometimes I can get it tightened up a little tighter when I go back around this time. And then tie a second knot. And then if you want to, you can always turn it back and tie another one. These aren't going to show, so it doesn't matter how many times you tie it. It's just so that you feel it's secure. And then we're going to trim these strings off. Okay? Like I said, mostly what you're doing is trimming string, is tying knots. Then we're going to take her and we're going to flip her up, right side up, and then like peeling a banana, we're going to pull these skirt pieces down. Kind of send them around where they go a little raise around over her waist. Pull all 3 of them down. Then we're going to go to the other side and pull those 3 down. This is your Cornhusk Dolls skirt. Pull the third one down. And now, what you can do is, if you want to, you can, this is a styrofoam cup, which I forgot to get and bring in. You can take and poke a hole in the bottom of the styrofoam cup and put this middle body piece and then wrap these skirts around it. Usually mine are long enough and I have enough of it that I don't have to have the cup. But then I'm gonna take the other piece of corn husk and the other piece of long string, sorry, and I'm gonna tie it about 1 inch above the shortest piece of this corn husk, 1 inch to 1.5 inches above it. Don't pull it too tight because you don't want to make her look like she's got on a skirt that's squishing her ankles, but you want to tie it in a double knot, because what this is going to do is when the corn husks start to dry, they're going to want to straighten up right here from the middle, and this will keep them down while it straightens, while it dries. I kind of straighten her head up. I'm going to trim these strings off a little bit. And now I'm going to take my scissors, and where this shortest piece of corn husk is, I'm going to go around and I'm going to try to trim these other corn husks to match it. This way you can make your corn husk doll as tall or as short as you want it to be by how long you make her skirt. But you want to make sure you get all the way through to the middle of the corn husk. You may have to go around 2 or 3 times to get it all. And then you want to check it and see if it stands up straight. See, mine stands up pretty good. Then you can straighten her arms up. Take this extra corn husk and the extra strings and throw them away again. And now then, I'm going to put some shoulder straps on my doll. And to do that, I'm just going to take another piece of corn husk, and you should have several left, but we put extra in your kits just in case 1 or 2 split when you were using them so you could replace them. But I'm going to take this corn husk and I'm going to go, I think I got 2 of them. Nope. Okay. I'm going to go about 1 inch or so, maybe 1.5 inches from the edge, and I'm going to take it and just split it down. And I'm going to do that twice to make 2 straps. Then I'm going to take this strap, I'm going to put it across her shoulder, and I may bunch it up just a little bit, or if you want to, you can even, if you've made it wide enough, you can even fold it in half. Same thing with the one on the other side, and fold it. I usually try to fold them more about the same size that way. And you're going to take them and you're going to crisscross them in the front and the back. And now you want to take this and you want to take 1 more string and tie around her waist to hold her straps. If you can use a short one, that's great. If not, I think we gave you an extra long one just in case. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to double knot it and pull it to her waist. And I'm not going to pull it too tight because I don't want to make her thing stick up too far. And I'm going to double knot it again. And then I'm going to trim these off. Now this is basically your Cornhusk doll. Some people can't do, if you want to make it look like it has real hair. Some people use the silk out of the corn husk, but most of the time when you buy corn husk now, it doesn't have a lot of the silk in the package because they package most of them for making tamales. And then if you want to, you can even take these and trim the front ones shorter to match the back ones better. You can trim the back ones off a little bit shorter if you want. See, one of mine's a lot longer than the other one, so I'm going to trim it off a little bit and pull them where they kind of match. And see, this covers up the knots you made on the strings on the neck and the body. So there you have your corn husk. Now she can be decorated. For one thing, you can take and bend her arms if you put the pipe cleaner in there. Sometimes they're a little hard to get them to stay very much. You may have to do this. I've seen people even take them and tie them together right there, but I usually just kind of bend mine a little bit because I'm going to look like she has her arms open to help. Then we're going to take the clothing that you received, and you're going to take the apron, which is the one with the straight across the bottom, and I'm going to put it here, wrap it around her waist, and tie it in a double knot. Again, you don't want to tie it too tight because you don't want it to flip up as you're tying it. But I just tie it in a little double knot around her waist. And she has an apron on. I just kind of pull it where it kind of matches down here if I need to. Sometimes if I want it shorter up here, I tuck it in like this with my finger. Then I take the one that's a scarf and I drape it on her head like this. Take her, lay her down a little bit, wrap it around her head like so. And I take this corner and I tuck it down here at the neck. And tie knot, double knot back here at the back of her head. Kind of hold it on with my fingers till I get the knots tied. And when you get a double knot tied, now she has a head covering. And you can even take this if you want, where you tuck this in, you can retuck it. And you can tuck these little sides in a little bit so it doesn't stick out as bad. And now see, my little doll has a scarf on her head. So I don't feel like mine needs hair because she has a scarf now. And where you can let the scarf stick up however you want to do it. Then I take the shawl piece and I fold it a third and another third this way. And then you can do one of two things. You can either take it, wrap it around her shoulders. Then you have to kind of watch to make sure you didn't knock her scarf off too bad. And I tuck it under at her waist here, kind of, a little bit, so that it stays on. Or you could take it and just fold it and drape it over her hands, and then go back and make sure her scarf is on well. If you need to, kind of pull it down a little bit on the sides to make sure her scarf is on. And there you have your Cornhusk doll. So you have now made a cute little Cornhusk doll. You can set her up, let her dry. Once she's totally dry, if you want, you can clip the string off the bottom, but I usually just leave it on there because I try to make it the beige where it's pretty close to the skin, because I don't want it to later, if it draws moisture, make her skirt flip up. But there's a Cornhusk doll, and you'll notice my doll has no face. Thank you very much for joining me, Widow, and have a great day. Thank you.